Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be exploring something truly fascinating from this book, Atlantean Wisdom: Names, Gender, and the Soul's True Essence.
Sounds intriguing.
It is. Get this. In Atlantean culture, names were believed to be like vibrational keys to a person's soul, totally separate from gender.
So not about being a boy or girl.
Exactly. More about the unique energy you brought into the world. Buckle up, because we're about to unpack this whole idea that your name might hold a deeper meaning than you ever realized.
Okay, I'm ready. This already sounds way different than how we think about names today.
Right. Like nowadays, we're so used to John meaning God is gracious if you're a boy, and Jane meaning the same thing if you're a girl. But this book suggests the Atlanteans had a totally different system. What do you make of that?
Well, the source seems to be saying Atlanteans believed names were more like energetic blueprints, shaping a person's potential instead of like boxing them in based on gender.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Instead of John or Jane, their names reflected something deeper about their core being, right?
Exactly. Like the book gives this example of the name Kyrian, which means radiant force. Now, that name could apply to someone who's a natural leader, but it could also describe someone with incredible compassion or someone who's super creative.
Oh, I see. So it didn't matter if they were male or female. Kyrian just spoke to their inner potential.
You got it.
So someone named Kyrian could be a powerful warrior, but also like a deeply caring healer.
Precisely. Their name resonated with their true essence, not their gender. Makes you think about names we use today, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like James, meaning he who follows, or Sophia, meaning wisdom. Beautiful names, but
But they carry these subtle gendered expectations with them.
yeah, exactly. And those expectations might actually shape how we see ourselves and others, even without us realizing it.
It's a good point. This source is making me question a lot of stuff I never really thought about before. And it's not just about names. This whole binary view of male or female, the book argues that it actually denies, like, the fullness of what it means to be human.
It challenges our modern assumptions for sure.
Totally. It's like that line from the book, every man has a goddess inside, every woman holds a god. So powerful.
Mm.
What do you think that means in terms of how we think about gender?
Well, it's not about denying the physical body. It's more about recognizing that. Well, the text actually describes it as biology as a vessel, not a destiny. So the Atlanteans weren't saying the body doesn't matter,
Yeah.
but they weren't letting it define a person completely either.
Interesting. So they saw it more like a spectrum, like a blend of masculine and feminine energy within each of us, not these rigid categories.
Right. Not a binary, but a beautiful blend. This idea actually pops up in other ancient traditions, too. Have you ever heard of the Taoist concept of yin and yang?
Oh, yeah. Represented by that black and white symbol.
Exactly. It illustrates how seemingly opposite forces like light and dark or masculine and feminine are actually interconnected.
Yeah, they're not competing, but complementary, right?
Yeah.
Always in this dance of balance.
Exactly. It's about wholeness, not separation.
And what about that Hindu concept of Shiva and Shakti?
Another great example, Shiva representing masculine energy and Shakti feminine energy. And together, they create the entire universe.
Oh, wow, yeah. So we're seeing this idea of a balanced whole self show up in different cultures across time. Pretty amazing, right?
Yeah.
Even the Bible hints at this idea of partnership and wholeness in the creation story.
You're right, like where it says God created humankind in his image, male and female, he created them. It definitely doesn't suggest one being superior to the other, more like they complement each other.
It's fascinating to see these connections.
Yeah.
But if these ancient civilizations understood this concept of a balanced whole self, why do you think it got lost or obscured for so long?
Well, that's a question for the ages. But what's interesting is that, according to this source, we might actually be rediscovering this truth. There's a prophecy mention about gendered names vanishing as humanity awakens.
Whoa, that's a big claim. You think we're seeing signs of that happening today?
It's definitely something to consider.
Yeah, like what about the rise of gender-neutral names? Or more people embracing non-binary identities? It does feel like there's this growing awareness and acceptance of gender fluidity, like we're challenging those old, rigid boundaries.
Right. And the source acknowledges there's pushback against this, some calling it cultural decay. But from the Atlantean perspective, it's not decay. It's seen as evolution, moving towards a more authentic expression of the self, free from limiting labels.
So we're actually catching up to what they understood centuries ago.
Exactly. The Atlanteans believed that in a truly enlightened society, names reflect the soul's mission, not the body it happens to be in. So, imagine a child whose purpose is all about fierce protection of others. In Atlantis, they might have been named Valora, whether they were born male or female.
Makes sense. Their name becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way, guiding them towards their true path. What about a child who is meant to be a healer?
They might be named Irian, embodying that energy of compassion and healing regardless of gender. Really makes you think, doesn't it? Honoring the essence of who you are, not some arbitrary category. But this brings us to a really important point. The source claims that this whole idea of dividing people based on gender was actually a tactic used by the Atlantean elite to maintain control.
Hold on, are you saying that a divided society was easier to manipulate?
That's what the source is suggesting. Pretty thought-provoking, right?
Yeah, if you connect it to the bigger picture, it makes you think about how gender roles are reinforced by those in power, like religions, governments, even corporations.
You're getting it.
It's like all those messages we get about how men should man up and women should be ladylike. We're practically programmed to fit into these narrow boxes without even questioning it.
You're picking up what the source is putting down. It's arguing that these aren't really traditions, they're control mechanisms. They're designed to limit our potential and make us easier to manage.
Whoa, that's heavy. And didn't Atlantis ultimately crumble because of this very thing, like all that ego-driven division?
That's right. It's definitely a cautionary tale. But don't worry, we're not ending on a doom and gloom note. This Atlantean wisdom also offers us a way to, reclaim our power and step into a more authentic expression of ourselves.
Okay, good. So how do we apply this wisdom to our lives today?
That's what we'll delve into next. But
Yeah.
first, I want to hear from you. How are you feeling about all of this? Anything stand out to you as particularly surprising or intriguing?
It's definitely a lot to process. I think what strikes me most is this idea that something as simple as our names could hold so much power and meaning. And even more, that the way we think about gender might be limiting us more than we realize.
That's a powerful insight. And it seems like the Atlanteans believed that this fragmentation, this division based on gender, was a key factor in their downfall.
It makes you wonder how much conflict and suffering in our world today stems from that very thing. Us versus them, male versus female, rich versus poor.
We're always dividing ourselves into these categories, drawing these lines in the sand.
It's like that quote from the book, the same force that sank Atlantis now drowns humanity in its rising tide. Chilling, but kind of true, right?
It's a warning, for sure, but not necessarily a prophecy of doom. Instead, I see it as a call to action. By recognizing our interconnectedness, the inherent wholeness within each of us, we can start to break down those barriers.
So it's about recognizing the unity that already exists, both within ourselves and in the world around us.
Precisely. And it starts with each of us, right? Reclaiming our own soul's name, embracing the fullness of who we are, and questioning those limiting beliefs about gender and identity that we've inherited.
Makes sense. But how do we actually begin to do that? It feels like such a monumental task, especially when you think about how deeply ingrained these beliefs are in our culture.
You're right, it's not going to happen overnight. But even the smallest ripple can create a wave. So if we each start by examining our own beliefs and choosing to live more authentically.
Yeah, I like that. So what would living authentically look like in this context? Does it mean changing our names or completely rejecting societal norms?
Not necessarily. It's more about an internal shift, a recognition that we are not limited by the categories that society tries to put us in.
Okay, so if it's not about changing our names or our outward appearances, what can we do to cultivate this internal shift?
Well, the source outlines a few steps for reclaiming your soul's name. It all starts with tapping into those core energies that make you, you. Are you naturally creative, logical, nurturing, bold? What drives you? What are your deepest passions and values?
So step one is really taking some time for introspection, like creating that soul portrait we talked about before, really painting a picture of who you are at your core.
Exactly. Recognizing those unique qualities that make you special and allowing them to shine through regardless of any labels or expectations.
That's a beautiful way to think about it. But what about those expectations? How do we break free from them?
That's the next step. Rejecting those limiting beliefs about what you should be based on your gender. It's about saying, okay, society, thanks for the input, but I'm going to decide what my name, what my essence represents.
Like reclaiming your power. So if Michael traditionally means gift from God, why can't a woman embody that energy? Or if Luna embodies intuition and healing, why should that be limited to a specific gender?
Exactly. The Atlanteans believed in honoring the soul's mission, not the body it happened to inhabit. So the third step is about embracing that way of thinking, seeing names as reflections of potential, not limitations. Imagine a world where children are named not based on their sex, but on their purpose, their potential.
Wow, it's like giving them a name that empowers them to become their truest selves right from the start. And this goes beyond just names, right? It applies to all areas of life.
Absolutely. It's about celebrating the unique strengths and qualities that everyone brings to the table, regardless of gender. Instead of saying, you throw like a girl, we celebrate the strength and grace that every individual embodies.
Love that. So instead of focusing on divisions, we start recognizing and appreciating our shared humanity.
Exactly. It's about creating a culture of collaboration and understanding, where leadership is defined not by dominance, but by compassion, wisdom, and a recognition of our interconnectedness.
That sounds like a beautiful world. But is it truly possible to create that kind of world, especially given how divided we seem to be?
The source seems to think so. It points to the rising tide of awareness we talked about earlier, the increasing number of people who are questioning those old paradigms and embracing a more fluid understanding of gender and identity. It's not about erasing differences, but about celebrating them as part of a larger whole.
It's like we're on the cusp of a major shift in consciousness, like a remembering of our true nature.
And this ancient Atlantean wisdom suppressed for so long is resurfacing at just the right time to guide us back to a more authentic and harmonious way of being.
So going back to names, what does your name mean to you now? After exploring this Atlantean perspective, has your understanding of it shifted at all?
That's a great question, and one I think we should all be asking ourselves. What if our names hold a deeper meaning than we ever realized?
And what if, by embracing that meaning, we can unlock our full potential and create a world that reflects the beauty and unity that already exists within us?
Something to think about.
Okay, so it's not about changing our names or outward appearances. What can we do to cultivate this internal shift?
Well, the source actually outlines a few steps for reclaiming your soul's name. Remember, it's about tapping into those core energies that make you, you. Are you naturally creative, logical, nurturing, bold? What drives you? What are your deepest passions and values?
So step one is really taking some time for introspection, like creating that soul portrait we talked about before, really painting a picture of who you are at your core.
Exactly. Recognizing those unique qualities that make you special and allowing them to shine through regardless of any labels or expectations.
That's a beautiful way to think about it. But what about those expectations? How do we break free from them?
That's the next step. Rejecting those limiting beliefs about what you should be based on your gender. It's about saying, okay, society, thanks for the input, but I'm going to decide what my name, what my essence represents.
Like reclaiming your power. So if Michael traditionally means gift from God, why can't a woman embody that energy? Or if Luna embodies intuition and healing, why should that be limited to a specific gender?
The Atlanteans believed in honoring the soul's mission, not the body it happened to inhabit. So the third step is about embracing that way of thinking. Seeing names as reflections of potential, not limitations. Imagine a world where children are named not based on their sex, but on their purpose, their potential.
Wow, it's like giving them a name that empowers them to become their truest selves right from the start. And this goes beyond just names, right? It applies to all areas of life.
Absolutely. It's about celebrating the unique strengths and qualities that everyone brings to the table, regardless of gender. Instead of saying, you throw like a girl, we celebrate the strength and grace that every individual embodies.
Love that. So instead of focusing on divisions, we start recognizing and appreciating our shared humanity.
Exactly. It's about creating a culture of collaboration and understanding, where leadership is defined not by dominance, but by compassion, wisdom, and a recognition of our interconnectedness. The source provides vivid examples to illustrate this. Imagine a boy named Luna, deeply connected to his intuition and using that gift to heal and nurture others.
Or a girl named Maximus, leading with strength and wisdom, breaking free from those limiting expectations of what it means to be feminine.
It's a beautiful vision, isn't it? One where everyone is empowered to embrace their full potential, regardless of gender or any other label.
It really is. And while it might feel like a far-off dream, the source reminds us that we're already seeing signs of this shift happening. The rise of gender-neutral names, the growing acceptance of non-binary identities, it's all part of a larger awakening.
It's like humanity is remembering its true nature. We're remembering that we're all connected, that we all have the potential for greatness, regardless of the categories we've been assigned.
And as we continue to dive deeper into these ancient mysteries, who knows what other truths we might uncover? What other wisdom is waiting to be rediscovered?
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive, but we hope this exploration of Atlantean wisdom has sparked your curiosity and given you some food for thought.
Remember, the true self transcends labels and limitations. Embrace your essence, honor your soul's name, and keep exploring. Who knows what incredible truths you might discover about yourself and the world around you? It's like we've only just scratched the surface of this Atlantean wisdom.
Yeah.
What else does the source say about, actually reclaiming our soul's name?
Well, it actually lays out a kind of roadmap, a three-step process for connecting with that deeper meaning. And the first step, like we touched on earlier, is all about self-reflection.
Right, right.
Really taking the time to explore your essence, those core energies that define you, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, totally.
So are you naturally drawn to creativity? Do you thrive on like logic and problem solving? Are you more nurturing and compassionate? Or are you bold and adventurous, always up for a challenge?
So it's about more than just listing personality traits. It's about getting to the heart of who you are at your deepest level, right? Like building that soul portrait we were talking about.
Exactly. And once you have a clearer picture of those core energies, the next step is to, well, it's about breaking free from all those limiting beliefs about what your name should mean based on your gender.
I see what you mean.
The Atlanteans believed that names held real power, you know? They were like vibrational keys to unlocking your potential.
Yeah.
So don't let those old societal expectations dictate what your name represents for you.
That's like taking back your power, right?
Right.
Deciding for yourself. So like, if Michael traditionally means gift from God, why can't a woman embody that divine energy too?
Oh.
Or if Luna evokes intuition and healing,
Oh.
why should those be seen as just, feminine qualities?
It all goes back to what we were saying about the Atlanteans honoring the soul's purpose, not just the physical form.
Okay, yeah.
So that third step is all about really embracing that way of thinking, you know? Seeing names as reflections of potential, not limitations.
Yeah. It's a powerful shift in perspective.
It is. And imagine, like, if we could apply this not just to ourselves, but to future generations. What if we named children based on their purpose, their potential, those unique qualities that shine through right from the start?
It's a beautiful thought, giving them a name that empowers them to become their truest selves. And it goes beyond just names too, right? This idea of honoring each person's unique essence, it applies to every area of life.
Absolutely. The source suggests that this is actually the key to building a truly harmonious and thriving society. You know, one where we celebrate our differences instead of letting them divide us.
Yeah, like instead of focusing on the divisions, we focus on recognizing and appreciating our shared humanity.
Precisely. It's about creating a culture of collaboration and understanding, where leadership isn't about dominance, but about compassion, wisdom, and recognizing our interconnectedness. And the source actually gives these vivid examples to illustrate this. Like, imagine a boy named Luna who's deeply in tune with his intuition and uses that gift to heal and nurture others.
I love that. Or a girl named Maximus, who leads with strength and wisdom, totally defying those old, limited expectations of what it means to be feminine.
It's a beautiful vision, isn't it? A world where everyone is empowered to embrace their full potential, regardless of gender or any other label.
It really is. And while it might feel like a far-off dream, the source reminds us that we're already seeing signs of this shift happening all around us. The rise of gender-neutral names, the growing acceptance of non-binary identities, it's all part of this larger awakening that's taking place.
It's like humanity is remembering its true nature, that we're all connected, that we all have this incredible potential for greatness, no matter what categories we've been assigned.
It's an exciting time to be alive, and as we keep diving deeper into these ancient mysteries, who knows what other truths we might uncover?
It's a journey of discovery for sure.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. But we hope this exploration of Atlantean wisdom has given you some things to ponder.
And maybe even inspired you to see the world and yourselves in a new light.
Remember, the true self goes way beyond labels and limitations. Embrace your essence, honor your soul's name, and never stop exploring. Who knows what incredible truths you might discover about yourself and the world around you?